All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the WD Broadcasting Network. Tonight we are back with the Winter Challenge Series, back at the Iowa Speedway. This is the first time I've called a race at Iowa in quite some time. Right now, qualifying underway for these drivers. In the Best Buy Auto Sales 125. 125 laps around Iowa. The biggest track that we go to on our schedule. Right now, qualifying underway. Like I mentioned, here are the times on the left side of your screen. Eric White, fastest, with a 24.735. Very close all throughout the field. Just over 2/10 back to the 18th spot. So this is going to be a very close field. Trent Smith jumps up to the second spot. I think that's going to be it. It's time to race. We'll look at the point standings coming into tonight's race. Derek Kraus leads the chase by just 6 points. Derek Kraus and Brian Tedeschi are tied for the points lead. Tristan Swanson is 3 back. Anthony Danta 7 back, and Ryan Honeycutt 9 back. Your top 5 all very close here after round 1 of the chase. Been an exciting season so far for the Winter Challenge Series. Theo Langford has won the last 2 races. Second time this season we've had a driver win 2 in a row. The question is, can Steele make tonight 3 in a row? We'll have to keep an eye on that. Tristan Swanson in the 91, defending champion. Trying to seal the deal for another one. He is currently in the 3rd spot, just 3 points out of the lead, so anything can happen. It can change very quickly, especially with the 20-car field that we have tonight. We're going to see a lot of side-by-side racing here. Iowa Speedway, a wider track, so we are going to have, hopefully, a lot of side-by-side racing. And it's going to be tough to pass and tough to complete that pass. There's going to be a lot of draft involved here. Ty Fredrickson making his final laps. Haven't seen him in a couple weeks here in the Winter Challenge Series. His last race was actually at the Slinger Speedway, where he finished in the 12th spot. This season, Fredrickson has 1 top 5 finish, 2 top 10s through his 6 starts. Jumps up to the 2nd spot on the board. He didn't qualify all that well. We'll look at the qualifying results here. You see the 36th. Last out of the drivers that took time. I don't think he got a full up-to-speed lap, though. You can see he's 5/10 off. So he's going to be coming from deep in the field tonight. There may be some penalties handed out after last week's race that will affect the starting order. But our invert is going to be 8. Scott Kingswan going to be on the pole. And Tristan Swanson going to line up next to him in that 2nd spot. And this is a bit of a different race for me. I don't know if I've broadcasted with late model stocks at a bigger short track like Iowa. But there's definitely going to be a lot of action. We're going to have to do our best to try and keep an eye on the right spot. The warm-up just about finished up here. Everybody wanting to get comfortable with the race car, because when we send them green, it's going to be green flag for 125 laps. Hopefully, these guys can keep it pointed in the right direction. Eddie Dabrowski, second quick in this warm-up session. He's behind Brett McCoy right there. Give us a good view of what tonight's race is going to look like. You can see that car shoot up the racetrack. Did not get a good run right there. 78 of Dylan Roberts back behind him. You can hear they do have a little bit of off-throttle time, so it is going to make tonight's race pretty interesting. They're not flat out. And now it is time to meet our starting field for tonight's Best Buy Auto Sales 125. Scott Kingswan going to roll off from the pole after the invert of an 8. We'll put your fast qualifier Eric White in the 8th spot. And starting on the front row, it is the 55 machine of Scott Kingswan. It is outside. Defending champion, third place in points right now, Tristan Swanson. Travis Eldridge going to roll off from the 3rd spot tonight here in the 30 machine. He'll have Jackson Lewis to his outside in the 07. Jackson Lewis, a winner this season back at the Hickory Motor Speedway. We'll see if he can get it done again here tonight. Danny Mann back with us here tonight, going to start from the 5th spot in the 10 machine. It is outside, a 2-time winner this season, the 9 machine of Derek Kraus. He did get into a little bit of trouble last week with the race officials after the incident late in the race, so he is going to have to keep an eye out on his actions throughout the rest of the season. We'll keep an eye on that 9 machine. Starting in the 7th spot here tonight, number 3 machine of Trent Smith. He's had a lot of speed all season long, has not gotten the victory just yet. We'll see what he can do in this 125 lapper. In the 8th spot, it's going to be Eric White, your fast qualifier here tonight. Starting from that 8th spot, Eddie Dabrowski in the 29, going to start from the 9th position. And to his outside, your winner of the last 2 Winter Challenge Series races, Theo Langford in the 33. Brian Tedeschi in the 129, going to start to the inside of row number 6. And he'll have Riley Stenjum to his outside in the 77 machine, rounding out your top 12 starters. Back behind him, Dylan Roberts in the 78, going to start from the 13th spot, and he will have Anthony Danta in the 51, a winner this season at the Slinger Speedway, starting in the 14th spot. Josh Emerson in the 512, going to roll off from the 15th spot here tonight. He'll have Michael Ostiek in the 18 machine, starting 16th at his outside. Your final 4 starters here tonight: Brett McCoy in the 1 machine, going to start 17th. Rob Nelson in the 199, going to start 18th. Ty Fredrickson in the 36, going to start 19th. And then Kenny Storkson rounds out our field. I don't think he's going to make the call, though. So it is now in the hands of Scott Kingswan and Tristan Swanson. The green flag is going to be up, and it is out. We are underway here at Iowa Speedway down into turns 1 and 2. The 91 of Tristan Swanson going to get the early jump on the outside lane. He will take the lead down the back straightaway. Here comes Jackson Lewis on the top as well. That outside lane moving fast here early on. Look at Derek Kraus in the 9 machine. Coming back to the finish lap number 1, it's going to be Tristan Swanson in the 91. He comes around. He will lead Jackson Lewis and Scott Kingswan into turn number 1. King Swan looking back to the bottom. He's going to try to take that top spot back down the back straightaway. King Swan clear for the lead. The 91 of Tristan Swanson backing up a little bit here. Maybe trying to play a little bit of strategy. Definitely falling back through the field, off pace right there. 91 not wanting to give it all away here early on. They do have a set of tires in the pits, I do believe. But definitely some early strategy going on. That 91 machine started up front, led the first lap, but now dropping back outside of the top 10. Ooh, and there's contact right there. That's the tricky thing about dropping back through the field. If you are off pace just a little bit, it's hard for the guys around you to adjust. And it can be easy to grab a little bit of contact and get ran over. Lap 5 up on the board. Scott Kingswan leading this field by 0.7 of a second. Jackson Lewis has got 3 cars packed right behind him. Eddie Dabrowski on the outside lane takes the 4th spot away from Steele Langford. Dabrowski in the 29 wanting to move forward here early on. He goes down to the bottom. That 29 machine able to drive through the center of the corner a little bit better than Eric White right there. And he will take that 3rd spot away. Early on in this race, we're having a lot of drivers shuffling around positions, making moves early. Or some drivers making moves early, some drivers falling back through the field, trying to set themselves up for the later stages of this race. We look a little bit further back. Michael Ostiek to the outside of Anthony Danta. '18 machine takes that spot away. Josh Emerson going to follow right there on the top side. And it looks like both lanes are working here early on. It kind of just depends on where you can get a run built up and whether or not you can keep it. Meanwhile, up front, Jackson Lewis in the 7 machine starting to use up that outside lane. Eddie Dabrowski going to slide by on the inside. But Lewis was way up the track down into turn number 3. We'll see where he goes right here. Iowa, one of the trickier tracks on iRacing. 2 very different corners. It can be easy to overshoot either one of them. You see Dylan Roberts down underneath Riley Stenjum. Battle for the 7th position. Here comes the 78. Here comes the 18 as well. Roberts going to take that spot away and set his sights on Derek Kraus. Down the backstretch they go. The 78 machine going to get clear, but here comes Ostiek down low. This is all happening just outside of the top 5. You can see Steele Langford on the bottom of your screen right there in the 5th spot. Derek Kraus in that 9 machine kind of taking it easy at this point in the race. We're only 12 laps in. No sense in pushing it too hard early on. A long way, 125 laps. They're running 25-second lap times. You can see throughout your field some of the lap times really starting to differentiate. Ostiek gets by Kraus for the 6th spot. Josh Emerson right there trying to move forward as well. And right now, with how spread out this field is getting, You've got to wonder if and when we may see a caution flag. The cars are going to get pretty tough to handle, so that is one thing that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Once they start getting a little bit too much heat in the tires, they can become a nightmare, as we've got a battle going on for the race lead. Eddie Dabrowski starting to close the gap to Scott Kingswan. Dabrowski in the 29. Both drivers right there on the bottom lane. You can see the 55 slide the rear just a little bit. And that allows the 29 to close the entire straightaway. That gap closes up. And you can see how just one tiny little mistake can throw off your lap. Go on board with King Swan down into 3. A lot of throttle time and a lot of throttle control up off of 4. Try to keep the rears from stepping out underneath of him. You can see he's really having to pedal that race car. The 29 of Dabrowski has a little bit better of a run at this point in the race. And he's going to take that top spot away on lap number 18. New leader, Eddie Dabrowski out front. Coming into tonight, Eddie Dabrowski hadn't led a lap this season out front at Iowa here. Trying to extend that gap. Back to the third spot of Jackson Lewis, so the gap is 2.8 seconds. You can definitely tell things are getting spread out here. We're watching the battle for the 4th position. Steele Langford starting to close that gap to the back bumper of Eddie. Sorry, that's Michael Ostiek in the 18. Langford in the 33, a little sideways that time off of turn number 2. When you're in these cars, you don't want to get the cars too sideways through the center of the corner. That's what you're trying not to do. You can see that last time around, very close with your race leader, Eddie Dabrowski. But Langford quite a ways back. Going to be interesting to see how these gaps change over time. If some of these drivers that are way out front start to burn off their tires, maybe use up too much of the good. Check back on Tristan Swanson. Started outside pole in this one, back to the 16th spot. Currently just waiting in line. He's running similar lap times to your race leaders up front, but just trying not to push the issue. This time by for Eddie Dabrowski will be 100 laps to go, so a long, long way still left in this one. I think everybody does know that. They're trying to be very conservative early on. We haven't seen any chaos just yet. Dylan Roberts, Riley Stenjum. Your biggest mover so far in the third spot, Michael Ostiek in the 18 machine, just got around Jackson Lewis a couple laps ago. He's moving forward here. You just gotta wonder if he's moving too early. He started in the 16th spot. He's up to third. Only 27 laps in. Riley Stenjum beginning to track down Derek Kraus. Kraus running in the 8th spot. We have been green from the drop of the initial drop of the green flag. So these guys have not really had time to have a breather. Had to maintain their cars. And the big thing that you don't want to do, you just can't overheat that right rear tire. It'll turn if you overheat the right front. You'll just have to slow it down a little bit more, but if you heat up that right rear tire, it's going to be a nightmare through the center of the corner. You're not going to have any drive off. Derek Kraus in the 9. In the 8th position, Riley Stenjum in 9th, back behind him. Dylan Roberts rounds out your top 10 in this little 5-car pack. That's Anthony Danta and Travis Eldridge also grouped up right here. Up in front of them, Teal Langford takes that 4th spot away from Jackson Lewis. 33 starting to show some speed here. Lap 31. Derek Kraus still leading this group of 5 cars. I believe they are starting to close in on Josh Emerson up in front of them. Jackson Lewis still hanging right there with Steele Langford. Langford did not get that spot and run away, but they are starting to close in on Michael Ostiek, and up in front of him they've got Rob Nelson, who is 1 lap down in the 99. Looking at the lap times last time around, the fastest car is right around that 25 flat mark. Nobody in the 24 is actually that time. Jackson Lewis a little bit quicker in the number 7. But everybody's still pretty close on times. Nobody really ahead. No clear advantage to anybody in the field just yet. Langford in the 33. Definitely starting to close up to Michael Ostiek in the 18. Langford going for 3 in a row tonight. It'd be a heck of a feat. Iowa's a tough track to pick up the victory at because you want to have enough of a run to get up there at the end, but also enough tire to hold off anybody that may be right behind you. This time by will be lap number 40 for Eddie Dabrowski, who currently still has a 1.2 second advantage over Scott Kingswan. He's got Trent Smith up in front of him. The next car to go 1 lap down. You can see a couple cars up in front of him. That's Ty Fredrickson and Kristen Swanson. As this time by, we are 40 laps in. 40 laps in to Iowa Speedway. 65 to go. Sorry, 85 to go. 125 laps. Langford underneath Michael Ostiek down into turn number 1. Battle for the 3rd spot. Jackson Lewis is right there as well. And this is a good look at what it's going to be like to pass. You can see Langford got a big run to the inside right there, but just could not complete it. Tries to keep the gap open through turns 3 and 4. The 18 kind of shot up the racetrack right there. Langford did not have the run on the bottom. You can see, definitely did not get it in one shot right there. It's going to take a couple attempts for Steele Langford to get that position from Michael Ostiek. Langford right there on the back bumper. Lewis has fallen off a little bit in the 7 machine. Here comes a good run from Langford in the 33. Gonna try to shoot to the bottom here. He's wanting to cut it later so he can get a straighter run up off the corner and have a better run down into turn number 1. Here comes a better look this time. Langford down to the bottom. Ostiek on the outside. Looks like he's still able to use that outside lane to his advantage. You get a big run on the top, especially out of 2 here. The banking just a little bit better up there. You don't have much of a transition. Off of 2 this time, 33 of Langford. Close to pulling alongside, but just can't quite get there. Gonna try to use up a little bit more track through turns 3 and 4 that time. Good battle for the 3rd spot here. Steele Langford up the racetrack, just about out of room. The 18 in the wall, but he keeps his foot in it. You can see the 33 trying to make that pass, just can't quite do it. The run too strong on the outside. And that 18 machine still pulls ahead down the straightaways. And the 33 of Langford doesn't want to try too hard here because he wants to have some more tire to drive up to Scott Kingswan up in front of him. He's 3 seconds ahead. And Langford does finally have to pull back up into line. He'll have to find another way around. that 18 machine of Michael Ostiek. Jackson Lewis now back to the bottom, underneath Steele Langford. Langford's tires hot after battling underneath Michael Ostiek for that long. I have some pressure from the 7 of Jackson Lewis. Up front, Eddie Dabrowski still holds the race lead. 1.3 seconds is the gap now. He's kind of just managing that gap. It was 0.9 a little while ago, but now got King Swan starting to back the pace off a little bit. We are 53 laps in. There'll be 72 to go when Dabrowski gets back across this time. Battle a little bit deeper in the pack. Brett McCoy underneath Danny Mann. Ty Fredrickson going to try to follow in the 36. These guys, I think, trying to save as much tire as they can, knowing that this one very well could go green to checkered. We're 54 laps caution-free so far. Up in front of them, Anthony Danta to the inside of Derek Kraus. This is for the 8th spot on track, or 9th spot, rather. 8th is Riley Stenjum right there in front of him. And Anthony Danta able to complete that pass. Derek Kraus going to try to dive back underneath. Kraus dives down to the bottom. 51 going to use up that outside lane. That was a good way of him to make that pass, kind of slide up in front of Derek Kraus to take that outside lane away and then defend the next corner. 51 machine back up to the 9th position. He'll set his sights on Riley Stenjum. Stenjum currently runs in the 8th spot. They've got Josh Emerson up there in front of him as well. He's starting to work his way back into their clutches. As Danta works the back bumper of Riley Stenjum. Thought about taking a peek to the inside into one that time. Didn't quite have the run built up. 51 definitely starting to show a little bit of speed here just around 60 laps in. Danta looks down to the inside. He's got to be careful, though, because right behind him is Derek Kraus. So if he shoots to the inside, he's got to have a way to get back up without getting passed by that 9 machine. Anthony Danta back to the inside. Stenjum up the racetrack, I think maybe letting the 51 by. Saw the run that he had to the inside, didn't quite want to force the issue and battle for that position. Now, Danta going to set his sights on the 512 machine. Josh Emerson. Michael Ostiek has gotten around Scott Kingswan for the second spot about a lap ago. Right at the halfway point, that 18 machine starting to work his way to the front. Remember, he got around Steele Langford and Jackson Lewis. Now Lewis trying to take the third spot away. Steele Langford right back. Last spot in the top 5. Jackson Lewis riding in the third spot. Oh, and Scott Kingswan coming to pit road in the 55. Trouble for the 55 machine. He comes to pit road. I don't know if this is a scheduled stop. But down pit road speed pretty slow here at Iowa, so he is going to lose quite a few spots. He has that first pit box. He parks it in his pit. He's getting tires on that race car, so I think a scheduled tire stop just past the halfway point for Scott Kingswan. Now Eddie Dabrowski's lead, 1.9 seconds. We'll keep an eye on that gap. I think the 18 of Michael Ostiek is on his way to the front. A little bit further back, remember Tristan Swanson, he dropped back early on in this one. He's starting to work his way back forward up to the 12th spot. As up front, Eddie Dabrowski, Michael Ostiek coming down pit road. And it is pit stop time. Dabrowski in the 29. Going to come down pit road, and we have a caution flag right in the middle of the pit cycles. Danny Mann in the 10 machine, I think, may have lost it coming to the pits. And that is going to throw a wrench in everybody's strategy. There's going to be a couple cars trapped a lap down. There's going to be a couple cars getting wave arounds here. We'll see where the pace car comes out. As Jackson Lewis was your race leader at the time of caution. Let's see what happened to the 10 machine here. Down into turn 3. Oh, and it looked like, I think he tried to pit late in the corner. And the 36 of Fredrickson was right there. Nothing he could have done. Go on board with Ty Fredrickson here. Yeah, it looked like the 10 machine, I think, tried to check up and pit right there, and there's nothing you can do when you're committed to the throttle, especially when the 10 was up the racetrack a little bit. I don't think there's much damage on the front bumper, but not what Fredrickson or Danny Mann wanted right there. Caution flag flies for the first time tonight, 70 laps in. We went a long ways on that first green flag run. Now we're going to get to see how these drivers handle the final 50 laps. First 50, they were rather tame. See what they do the second half of the race. Up front, the race lead going to go to Steele Lankford. I think Eddie Dabrowski, one of the cars that got trapped behind the pace car. So he's going to get waved around here when they get the one-to-go signal. He's not going to lose a lap, but he will be a little bit behind the 8 ball as far as track position goes. This time by, field gonna choose lanes. We'll see where they want to go. Steele Lankford gonna choose the bottom. And this will be the first restart we have seen at Iowa. Now Lankford and pole sitter Eric White gonna bring us back to the green. Just shy of 50 laps to go. Let's see what happens. Pace car lights back on, not quite ready to go. Back green flag racing here. Race control wanted to make sure the lineup was all good before we sent them green, and it looks like we are ready to go. So this time by, going to send them back green. And it will be 50 to go. Steele Lankford, your leader. Eric White to his outside, Riley Stenjum. In the third spot, Derek Kraus fourth. And this time, pace car gonna drop to the inside, down pit road. And it's in the hands of Steele Lankford. He gets a good jump. Derek Kraus wasting no time. 3 wide down the front straightaway. And they're going to be 3 wide down into turn number 1. Derek Kraus up on that outside lane in the 9 machine. Trying to get a big run, but it did not work out in his favor. He's going to be back to the outside of Jackson Lewis. Steele Lankford is clear for the top spot. Now Brian Tedeschi going to battle with pole sitter Eric White for the top spot. White went up the racetrack right there. That's going to allow Derek Kraus to look 3 wide to the bottom. Little contact between Eric White and Brian Tedeschi. Tedeschi that time and Kraus make contact. Ooh, they were sandwiched 3 wide right there. Barely somehow kept it in the right direction. Eric White hanging on to that 3rd spot. Here comes Tristan Swanson in the 91. Wants a piece of the action. He's to the inside of Brian Tedeschi there. That's for the final spot in the top 5. And caution flag flies for the 2nd time here tonight. The 30 machine of Travis Eldridge with damage on the front bumper and slow down in turns 1 and 2. I didn't get a look at what happened, but we'll see here. As it looks like the 1 machine of Brett McCoy may have had some trouble. This is down the back straightaway. You can see the 30 of Travis Eldridge on that outside lane, and then what happens with Brett McCoy? Oh, and I actually think it happened behind him. Anthony Danta in the 51 came up the racetrack and clipped the 30 of Travis Eldridge, and that sent him spinning into Brett McCoy in the number 1 machine. So a stack up, or a multi-car pileup on the front straightaway, puts us under caution for the second time. Steele Langford in the 33 machine stopped on the front straightaway. I didn't see what for, but Langford going to lose some spots there. He is back to the rear. So tough break for the 33 of Langford. I don't know what happened there. I think he may have just been resetting something, adjusting a setting, not really sure. He's driving back up to his spot. We're just about ready to send him back racing. They're going to choose here in a couple laps, but we're going to be right back on the WD Broadcasting Network, grabbing a quick drink of water before we finish up this 125 lapper here at the Iowa Speedway. We'll be right back with more Winter Challenge Series action. Alrighty, folks, back just in time for the green flag. 82 laps complete here at the Iowa Speedway. Riley Stenjum, Steele Langford bring us back to the green. Langford on that outside lane did not get a better jump. Stenjum going to lead down the back straightaway. Here comes Derek Kraus looking to the inside, but look at the run that Langford gets on the top side. Down into turns 3 and 4. Riley Stenjum a little bit higher up through the center of the corner that time. Back behind, they fan out 3 wide down the front straightaway. Tristan Swanson trying to move forward here. Underneath, Eric White, Jackson Lewis. Lewis 3 wide on that outside lane, making the high side work. Man, Eric White in a really tough spot right here. 3 wide with Tristan Swanson to his inside. Jackson Lewis to his outside. Both drivers kind of holding him tight. A tough position to be in, especially on a restart. Not quite right in your rhythm. But White making that middle lane work. He's going to be just about clear of Tristan Swanson down into one. Definitely making that middle groove work. And now Eric White going to pull ahead down the back straightaway. And Tristan Swanson goes around. Big wreck down the backstretch. 91 machine bouncing to a stop. And the caution flag comes back out here. A big one down the backstretch. The 91 got hooked. And then everybody went spinning and swerving to avoid. I didn't see what caused that initial contact, but you definitely saw the number 91 of Tristan Swanson go for a spin. I think it might have been the 3 of Trent Smith that tagged him right up into Jackson Lewis in the outside lane too. Strong contenders here taken out in that one. Go on board with Jackson Lewis in that one, see what he saw coming off the corner. And you can see that 91 machine just shoot up the racetrack. And then back at him one more time. Nothing he really could have done. Go on board with Tristan Swanson. He was a little bit further back, or sorry, Ty Fredrickson. He was a little bit further back. And man, thought he had that one missed. Shot down to the bottom, and then Trent Smith was right there coming back across the track. Iowa seems like a track that has a lot of room, but they wad them up like that right in front of you, and you have to swerve to avoid. It gets pretty tight down that back straightaway, and that's what we saw right there. 91 machine with a lot of damage on the rear end of that race car. So undoubtedly going to end his night. Tough break for the driver, 3rd in points coming into this evening. Riley Stenjum, your race leader, 7th in the points. With just 2 races left in the chase, 1 after tonight. Stenjum would love to get the victory here and have a shot at the title going into next week. But still a lot of racing left to unfold. 88 laps in. 37 to go. Juice Cone this time by. Stenjum down low. Langford up top. Posse right now all 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll see if they can keep these spots to the finish. Good run for those guys. Lights off in the iRacing.com pace car, so we're going to send them green this time. Stenjum on the bottom, Langford up top. Eric Kraus in the 3rd spot. Pace car is off. And through the restart zone they go. Green flag is back out. We are back underway. Better start that time from Steele Langford. They're going to be dead even down into turns 1 and 2. We'll see if he can get a good run on that outside lane. 77 of Stenjum pulls ahead. But down the back straightaway, here comes Steele Langford. right back to the back bumper. Eric White underneath Brian Tedeschi for the 4th spot. White, your fast qualifier, trying to make something happen here in these final 30 laps. Eric White still down on that inside lane. Like we've seen tonight, tough to complete that pass on the bottom. Battle still going on right there for the 4th position. Up front, Steele Langford starting to look underneath. Or sorry, Derek Kraus starting to look underneath Steele Langford for the 2nd spot. "30 laps to go. 30 to go here at Iowa." The laps are going to start to go quickly here. Now that we're getting towards the end, you're going to run out of time if you're over a second back, I think. You're going to have to get up to the front as quickly as you can. Once we get to that 20 lap to go mark, 30 to go this time. And Riley Stenjum continuing to hold the race lead over Steele Langford. You can see the gap right there. About 6 car lengths down the back straightaway. Still enough time, though, for Steele Langford to get a run up to Riley Stenjum and try to make something happen. Derek Kraus starting to fall off a little bit in the 9 machine. He's back to the clutches of Brian Tedeschi. Up off of 4 that time. We'll look at the lap times and try to see who the fastest car in the field is. It looks like it is your race leader, Riley Stenjum, just a little bit quicker than Steele Langford that last time around. Brian Tedeschi still has some speed left in that 29 machine. He's trying to break onto the podium right behind Derek Kraus for that 3rd spot. Riley Stenjum definitely starting to open up that gap, though. Half a second at the line that time. With 25 to go. The lap time's still very close. I think Steele Langford still has enough time with 25 to go to make a run at it. He's just got to keep that gap small. You don't want to see it get much more than 0.5 of a second. Eddie Dabrowski down underneath Dylan Roberts. The battle for the 6th spot on track. Roberts not able to hold that outside lane. Give the position to Eddie Dabrowski down into turn number 3. And you can see just how quickly things get spread out. You haven't been green for all that long. Some drivers really starting to fight handling issues here late in the race, you can really feel the heat that you've put in the tires at this point in the race as Danny Mann looks underneath Dylan Roberts. And machine down to the bottom. "20 laps to go this time for Riley Stenjum, who leads the field down into turns 1 and 2. Steele Langford, though, right back behind him. Still not out of touch. They're coming back to 19 to go this time. Looking at the lap times, Langford that last lap a little bit quicker. We'll see if he can put a couple laps together here and close in to Riley Stenjum. On board with the 33. You can hear him. Be careful on the throttle. You don't want to be too aggressive and jump to the gas and hurt your run. He is gaining on the 77 of Riley Stenjum here. You can see that gap on the left side of your screen. It was half a second, now down to 0.4 of a second. He's not much faster than the 77, but he is closing the gap just slightly. That last time, a 24.95 to a 24.94 for Langford. Just barely quicker every lap. And with the gap as small as it is, he can just keep that same rhythm. He may be able to get there in time to make a run at it here. 16 to go this time. And I think where Steele Langford is really making up the time difference is corner exit. You can see the gap kind of open up. Entry to center and then up off the corner. That 33 machine just gets a big run. And he's able to drive in a little bit differently into the corner. And that is what is making up the difference right now. 0.3 of a second the gap with 14 laps to go. We're going to have a battle for the race lead heating up here before too long. Steele Langford trying to go 3 in a row, but this one he's going to have to earn, coming back to 13 laps to go. Good run that time from the 33 of Steele Langford, and he is right there on the back bumper of Riley Stenjum. 77 going to have to go into defense mode now. He got by Langford on one of those restarts. 33 was patient. Knew he had a lot of time left to go, and now is trying to make the move to win the race with 11 laps to go when they get back to the line. You can see the 33 up off of 4 just closes that gap. It's such a good run right behind the 77. But now he's got to try to find some speed and make the pass. Catching him and passing him are going to be two different things He's going to have 10 laps to figure it out. 10 to go this time for Riley Stenjum, holding off Steele Langford. Langford trying to go 3 in a row here in the Winter Challenge Series. Down the back straightaway this time. Langford right there on the back bumper. You can see him entering turns 3 and 4 a little bit differently. The 77 machine slid a little bit right there on the exit. The 33 on the back bumper into turn number 1. 9 laps to go for Riley Stenjum. Stenjum in the 77. He's got a gap where Langford's really going to have to make the move to the inside. I don't think you're going to be able to pass him in one corner. You're going to have to set him up a couple laps in advance here. So Langford sizing him up here. 8 laps to go. Is he going to have what it takes to get around Riley Stenjum? Stenjum looking for his first win this season. Seven to go across the stripe that time. Langford, once again, just a little bit quicker. Through turns 3 and 4. There's a battle back behind him for the 3rd spot. But how can you take your eyes off this battle for the top position? 6 laps to go this time. Steele Langford searching for every piece of momentum that he can find. You can see that 33 machine stay right there with Riley Stenjum. Down the back straightaway, and this big run out of 4 is what has been helping Steele Langford. He'll get another one right here. Gets right up to the back bumper of the 77, but with 5 laps to go, is the time running out for Steele Langford? Langford is right there. He's going to have to put a couple laps together here. '77 pushed up just a little bit that time. I think had to maybe get out of the gas. That's going to allow Langford to push up down the straightaway. Four laps to go. Can Riley Stenjum hold on? He's got Steele Langford putting the pressure on, but can he hold him off? 3 to go this time. Down through turns 1 and 2. Langford, I think, going to have to get a good run up off of 4. Maybe try to make the run down into 1. I don't know. Popsicle sticks up in the air this time. 2 laps to go. 2 to go for Riley Stenjum. Big run this time for Steele Langford. I think he's going to try to cross over maybe down the back straightaway. What can he do? He's right there on the back bumper. Stenjum's a little bit sideways down the back. Langford thought about looking inside that time. Going to think better of it here. Through turns 3 and 4. And this time by, white flag is out. Final time around for Riley Stenjum. Can he hold on? Langford is right there on the back bumper. He's going to have to get a big run down the back straightaway here and peek to the inside down into 3. There's one car right up in front of him. That's the 512. But up and out of turns 3 and 4, Langford's not going to have enough. And it's going to be Riley Stenjum picking up the victory. His first of the season at the Iowa Speedway. Steele Langford comes home in the 2nd spot. Brian Tedeschi 3rd. Eric White 4th. Danny Mann 5th. Eddie Dabrowski 6th. Scott Kingswan 7th. Derek Krause 8th. Josh Emerson 9th. Anthony Danta rounds out your top 10 finishers. But Riley Stenjum able to hold off Steele Langford and pick up the victory here tonight. And he will park it on the front straightaway. going to try to grab a word from our top 3 finishers here tonight. See if we can get them up in the broadcast booth. All right, now we're ready to grab a word from our top 3 here this evening. Going to start with Brian Tedeschi, our 3rd place finisher. Brian Tedeschi up in the broadcast booth, 3rd place finisher here this evening. Had to work for it there. You and Eric battled for, 10, maybe 15 laps there at the end. Ended up getting the 3rd spot. How do you feel after 125 laps at Iowa?
A pretty anticlimactic race for sure. Thought the strategy was going to be to save more than it did, and luckily got bailed out by a yellow by some interesting shenanigans going on by the Minnesota boys. So, yeah, I mean, to end up with a 3rd and kind of all 3 of us in the top 3 was a pretty good day.
Yeah, definitely a good day for the team. We saw a lot of you guys on different strategies, like you said. A lot of drivers wanted to save early. We saw a couple drivers drop back through the field on that first run. And the pit strategy was very different. I didn't expect to see green flag stops, but when everybody started coming down, that caution right in the middle of everything, I think kind of threw a wrench in everybody's plans. And luckily, you were able to get up into the 3rd spot when it was all said and done. So good run for you. Who do you have to thank for 3rd?
Big thing is the guys on the posse: Steele, Derek, Riley, Majeski, kind of all of us. Had a long Sarah season, so it's kind of nice to run. All pro here to finish out the year. And yeah, it'll be a fun battle between the 3 of us for the championship.
Yeah, I was just going to say that you were leading or tied for the lead coming into this evening with Derek Kraus. He didn't have the best run in the 9 machine, and neither did Tristan Swanson, the other driver right behind you. So what do you think you've got going into this final race at the Five Flag Speedway?
It's going to be tough at Pensacola. Qualifying is definitely a struggle, so all it takes is someone like a Stenny or a Kraus to qualify quick time, and that's a lot of points right there, lead a bunch of laps. So it's not going to be a cakewalk, but definitely be fun racing it out with teammates.
Alrighty, well, we hope to talk to you again next week. Congratulations to you, Brian, on your 3rd place run here tonight, and we wish you luck in the season finale.
Yep, thank you, and got to thank Brett for putting this on for all of us all year. So it's an awesome league to run in.
Yes, sir. It's been a lot of fun. All right, that was your 3rd place finisher, Brian Tedeschi. Now we'll talk to our 2nd place finisher. Just about went 3 in a row here this evening. 1 spot short. Steele Langford up in the broadcast booth. 1 spot short this week. P2. How do you feel after Iowa?
It was a pretty fun race. I had fun tonight. I wasn't sure how it was going to go. But it was definitely a fun combination, and I'm glad I raced tonight.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a lot of fun right there. I didn't know if you were going to be able to get Riley. I saw the gap kind of closing up there at the end. I saw you really putting some laps together, but catching somebody and passing them are 2 different things in this late model stock, and it just looked like you may have stalled out right when you got to him and didn't quite have enough to get around. But still a good run here to back up your 2 straight wins. 2nd place finish here this evening. Not a bad last 3 races for you.
Yeah, I'll take a second after 2 wins. Riley got by me on one of the runs, and it was right before the caution came out, and I felt like we were running too hard. And earlier in the race, the first race, I felt like I had better tires than Michael. And I tried passing him, and I got tight underneath him and killed my tires. So it was really hard to pass, and I felt like there at the end I had better tires than Riley did, but I couldn't get by him after he got the lead, and I was having a hard time passing on the inside anyway. So it was good. I'm not really in the points or anything, but it was good to run second after our 2 wins.
Yeah, definitely not a bad way to back up those 2 wins. Like you said, I think it was just very tough to complete a pass on the bottom. You could get to somebody's inside, but completing that pass and getting clear was one completely different thing. But good second place run for you here tonight. Who do you have to thank for another podium?
Just everybody on the posse, just all my teammates, Fred's Race Engine Design, and just everybody that helps you for doing this, and Brett for giving us this league.
Alrighty, well, congratulations to you, Steele, on a second place finish here tonight, and hopefully we can talk to you one more time next week.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Now to talk to our winner here tonight, first time this season picking up the victory, Riley Stenjum up into the broadcast booth, first victory of the season, picked up the victory here tonight at the Iowa Speedway. Crazy race here. Looked like Steele may have had something for you there at the end, but held him off, and you're in victory lane. How do you feel?
Yeah, it feels good. It was kind of a weird race with the way the pit strategy got shuffled there. There was some questionable stuff going on the pit stops with some other teams trying to, it seemed like, almost manipulate some points when their strategy didn't seem like it was going to work. So yeah, it flipped out. It flipped, and it worked in our favor, though, to get us to the front. And I think I cycled to either fifth or third right there after we put tires on after the caution. And yeah, fired off good. And I went a little harder than Steele there right off the get-go, just in case there was some cautions to try to get to the lead. And it ended up showing with him being a little bit better than me by the end. But yeah, felt good overall. Good 1, 2, 3 for the posse, and hopefully it gets me back into the points going into the last week next week.
Yeah, it'll be a good run for you. I think Tedeschi's going to have a good advantage going into the points, into the championship race, but a great run for you here. Led a lot of laps there at the end, and held off Steele when it mattered most. 1, 2, 3 run for the posse here tonight as well. You mentioned the pit stops, kind of got a wrench thrown into it, if you will. I think a couple cars, maybe like 5 came down, and then that caution flag came out. I didn't know how it was going to really shake out, but it looked like it went very well for you guys, so good result for you here. Who do you have to thank for your first victory of the season?
Yeah, just everybody at the posse. It's a good group of us friends that hang out, and it's cool that we're all up here in the points fighting for the championship next week.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch all of you guys do battle. You guys all race clean together. That's the fun thing. You guys are all fast and all put on a great show, and it's always fun to watch. So congratulations to you one more time. Before I let you go, what do you think you've got for Five Flags? It's a tough track, 200 laps there. What's it going to be?
I'm not really sure. It's going to be a whole deal with saving tires and everything else, but we'll see how it goes. I think it'll be all right. Just how the strategy works out, depending on how many cars, it'll obviously determine how many cautions there'll be. So cautions really throw a wrench into how much you save and how much you don't and when you put tires on and so on and so forth. So it's going to have to play it by ear, see what shakes out, and hopefully be there at the end.
All right. Well, congratulations to you, Riley, on your win here this evening, and hopefully we can talk to you one more time next week in the season finale.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. That was your winner here this evening. We'll look at our results up on screen, run through our final finishing order. As Riley Stenjum picks up his first victory of the season, Steele Langford comes home just short in the second spot. Brian Tedeschi third. Eric White comes home fourth. Danny Mann fifth. Eddie Dabrowski comes home in the sixth spot. Scott Kingswan seventh. Derek Kraus eighth. Josh Emerson ninth. Anthony Danta 10th. Rob Nelson 11th. Dylan Roberts 12th. Ty Fredrickson in the 13th spot. Tristan Swanson 14th. Brett McCoy 15th. Jackson Lewis comes home 16th. Trent Smith 17th. Michael Lostiek 18th. And then rounding out our field in the 19th spot is Travis Eldridge in the 30 machine. So that'll do it for us here tonight, folks. Thank you guys for watching the WD Broadcasting Network here at the Iowa Speedway. It was a fun race, and it was exciting all the way down to the wire. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys back here tomorrow night for the Leave the Pack Super Series at the Five Flags Speedway. It's going to be a fun race, 150 laps there in the super late models. So we'll see you guys back tomorrow night, but I am your host, Winston Deal, signing it off from the WD Broadcasting Network. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.